Hi! My name is Ida, and today I will take you behind the lyrics to my new song In Bloom. You can find it on Spotify and on all the other streaming platforms. I will link it below, along with the videos that I made about making the song, because I have talked about this song before, but I thought it would be fun to go more into depth in the lyrics, because I do love watching the Genius lyric videos, and I wanted to make my own. This whole song is very inspired by In Bloom by Nirvana, obviously, hence the title. Nirvana is one of my favorite bands, and it was my favorite band when I was 13 to 16, which is really important years for having a favorite band. And I kind of wanted to go back to those defining years and talk about something new that was beginning and try to describe the feelings around that. So the whole song is about being kind of on the edge of something new and you don't really know what it is. Weather change just like a mood ring, drifting clouds that look like nothing. So there are a few references to the lyrics for In Bloom by Nirvana in this, and one of them is the first line. Every spring I want to take pictures of flowers and put them on Instagram, and the first caption that comes to my mind is weather changes moods. It's one of my favorite lyric lines. I just think it flows really nicely. And because I was going kind of back to the early teenage years, I wanted to put in a mood ring, although I did have mood rings like before that, but I kind of wanted to include it in the imagery anyway. I should have worn it. I still have a mood ring that I got when I was like 8 from a boy, very romantic, and it still kind of works. It changes colors and stuff, so yeah, I thought that would be a nice imagery to open the song with. Kaleidoscopes that twist a feeling when fingers and senses intertwine. I was really struggling with this line, so it should be fingers and something intertwined, but I couldn't decide on the word, but I knew that it had to be 2 syllables, and in the end I chose senses. I kind of wanted to use feelings, but I had used the word feeling in the line before that, so I thought that would be weird, and I am okay with my decision. Tear off the petals, let's make a promise, pretty like a love song, and turn up the volume in my mind. Okay, so here we have a bunch of references. I just find flowers to be really poetic. I know that's not very original, but I do. First, we have whole, which I always feel really weird when I'm going to pronounce it, but it's one of my favorite bands, is Courtney Love's band, and she has this line, tear the petals off, that she uses in quite a few songs actually, so I wanted to include that. And I also made just like tiny references to Bloom by Troye Sivan, in case I think that's a really cool song. And in that song he says, play me like a love song, so that's why I wanted to include something with that. Carve out our initials under the leaves, tender and perpetual, like all of the things we leave behind. This is the first time I've used the word perpetual in a song, and I think maybe ever. I'm not quite sure what it means. I wanted to use a word that meant something like permanent, and I hope I was right. But it's a cool word. I like it. It feels good to sing, so yeah. And the word tender is also kind of from In Bloom by Nirvana, because it's tender age in bloom, but of course tender is a normal word, so it could be whatever. Also, I want to just talk a bit about the end rhymes. I'm really happy with the end rhymes for these verses. In the first part of the verse, we have some individual end rhymes, so mood ring, nothing, etc. And then we have intertwine, which comes back to the volume in my mind and all of the things we leave behind. So I thought that was kind of nice. But I don't know what it means to you. Don't know what it means. That's from Nirvana, obviously, but I thought it was kind of a fun play on it. I look inside your eyes and then I lose all I knew, so show me where it hurts and what to do to break through. I actually made the lyrics for the second refrain first, but I knew that I was going to be the second refrain and that I would need something to be the first refrain as well. But I tried to pick words that sounded the same. I've talked about this before, but since I am Norwegian and English is not my first language, I tend to write lyrics in a different way than I would have if I were to write songs in Norwegian, because the English words to me seem a bit more detached from their meaning, and I can sometimes pick words just because of how they sound and how they kind of make a landscape of sounds in my lyrics, if that makes sense. But of course I want there to be a theme and a message, and I want the words that I choose to deliver my message. But I really care about the sounds in a different way than the Norwegian language, because the Norwegian language is my everyday language and it's harder to separate the words from their meaning. It seems like everything will start anew, and we are in bloom. This is kind of the core of the song. It's not so complicated, but this is where it all started. Rays of light that touch your sweater, stretch out our arms and grow together. Shred the skin for something better. Keep reaching up and don't look down. Okay, so by this time I had realized how sexual this storyline sounded, and that was actually not my intention. I just wanted to write about something that began, and I wanted to leave it kind of open what that something was. But when I realized how this whole thing sounded, I just decided to go with it. So yeah. Pick up the pieces like picking a flower, carefully watching, thread lightly, and never make a sound. I don't really have anything else to add about this point. It's just kind of more of the same, emphasizing the themes and imageries and whatever. All of our secrets, all of our regrets, everything but you and I is left in a pile on the ground. The rhyme pattern is the same in the second verse as in the first verse, in case you didn't notice. But I don't know what it means to you, you bite your lip until it starts to bruise your light blue. So the second refrain was the first part that I wrote, and if you've seen the video where I make the song, then I also talk a bit about this, especially this one line with you bite your lip until it starts to bruise, because that's inspired by In Bloom by Nirvana again, with bruises on the fruit. And then I made a mind map in my first video, and from bruises on the fruit we had Call Me By Your Name, because obviously, but I also wrote bite the fruit as in some kind of Garden of Eden imagery thing. So the line itself is not so complicated, but I really like it because it contains a lot of images, at least to me. I don't know if people who hear it will think the same, but yeah. And all the colors best when I'm with you. It seems like everything will start anew, and we are in bloom. When I'm writing songs, I don't usually write about specific events in my life, although that has happened, of course. It's more like I want to describe a feeling and then I try to write something around that. One of my favorite writers and bloggers, Sandra Beyer, she's Swedish, she said in an interview recently that writing was like having different keys for different places in your brain. So you can kind of unlock different emotions and take yourself back to when you were feeling like that or when you had some kind of experience. So writing is just basically finding the right key and then lock up whatever you have stored in that place and then write from that point of view. And I think that's really accurate, both for how I write songs, but also for how I write stories and things in general. I like to think about it as some kind of Rolodex of feelings, and we have a lot of things stored away, and when we're making music or art or anything, we just try to access the right feeling and then make something that can convey that feeling and deliver a similar emotion to the audience. and sometimes the process can be a bit technical, and it won't be real in the sense that I'm not writing about a specific you in the song. But as you know, the artist used lies to tell the truth, which is one of my favorite quotes. And I think I'll end with that. So I hope this was interesting. And if you have any thoughts or questions, just write a comment and I will answer. And I would also really like to hear what you think of the song, so please tell me. Remember to subscribe if you're new, because I post music content every week. And yeah, that's it. I hope you'll have a really nice rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! But I don't know what it means to you, you bite your lip until it starts to bruise. You're light blue and all the colors best when I'm with you. With you, it seems like everything will stop.